Hello everyone, my name is Nesara Sitohan and now I'm going to explain my PowerPoint about applying direct strategies to the four language skills. The first is applying memory strategies to the four language skill. Memory strategies are powerful tools that help language learners store and retrieve new information effectively across all four language skills. The first, creating mental linkages. Creating, creating mental linkages means connecting new language information to ideas you already know. The first is grouping. Grouping is a language learning technique where students classify what they hear or read into meaningful. In listening skill, when we hear some new words, we can categorize them according to their group. For example, he, she, they are group pronouns. Next, in reading skill, we can categorize the words we read according to the concept or equation, and we can also find the opposite word of the word we read. Next, associating or elaborating. This involves connecting a new language to concept already in memory. In reading, students might associate new vocabulary with familiar words or concepts. For writing, learners can link new expressions to personal experiences they might describe. In speaking, associating phrases with specific situation makes uh, retrieval easier during conversations. For listening, connecting new words or words to familiar concepts improves comprehension. Next, placing new words into a context. This strategy embeds new vocabulary in meaningful sentences or stories. In reading, students create sentences with new words from text. In writing, learners practice using new vocabulary in paragraphs about familiar topics. In speaking, creating dialogue that include new experience provides context. For listening, imagining situations where heard vocabulary might be used help retention. To apply image and sound. This strategy uses visualization and sound connection to enhance memory of language elements. Views helps retention. The first, using imagery. This involves connecting words or concepts to mental image. In reading, visualizing scans or objects described in text strengthens vocabulary retention. For writing, picturing settings or actions before describing them enhance detail. In speaking, visualizing conventional scenarios helps prepare appropriate response. For listening, creating mental pictures of describes events or object improves comprehension. Next, be semantic mapping. This involves creating diagrams showing a relationship between concepts. In reading, mapping a relationship between characters or even in stories aids comprehension. For writing, creating concepts maps before composing help organize ideas. In speaking, mapping related vocabulary around conversation topics support fluency. For listening, organizing heard information into visual maps helps process complex input. C. Using keywords. This involves linking new foreign words to familiar words in one's native language that sound similar. In reading, connecting foreign words to similar sounding native word with visual association helps vocabulary retention. For writing, keyword association help recall spelling and meaning. In speaking, keyword techniques aid pronunciation and recall. For listening, recognizing parts of words that sound like native language helps identify unfamiliar vocabulary. The representing sounds in memory. This involves connecting words to their pronunciation rhyming or sound associations. In reading, creating sound association for difficult spelling aids recognition. For writing, remembering sound patterns help with spelling. In speaking, rhymes or sound patterns help with pronunciation. For listening, associating sound patterns with meanings improves comprehension of connected speech. 3. Reviewing well. Reviewing well involves returning to material at planned intervals to ensure long-term retention. The first is structure reviewing. This involves reviewing new material with increasing intervals between each review. In reading, revisiting text at spaced intervals reinforces vocabulary recognition. For writing, reviewing grammar patterns, progressive writing exercise strengthens accuracy. In speaking, scheduled practice of conversation topics enhance fluency. For listening, revisiting audio material with different focus each time depends comprehension. Next, employing action. This strategy uses physical movement to enhance memory connection. The first, using physical response or sensation. This involves physically responding to language. In reading, acting out scans from text enhance comprehension. For writing, physically experiencing situations before describing them adds authenticity. In speaking, using gesture while practicing new expressions creates additional memory pathways. For listening, responding physically to instructions, as in total physical response, strengthens comprehension. Next, using mechanical techniques. This involves using tangible techniques to remember language. In reading, using flashcards for new vocabulary aids recognition. For writing, manipulating sentence strips to practice word order help internalize grammar. In speaking, recording and replaying one's speech helps identify areas for improvement. For listening, using technology to control audio speed and repetition help process difficult content. Next, applying cognitive strategies to the full language skill. Cognitive strategies involve direct manipulation of language through reasoning, analysis, and practice, forming the foundation for developing proficiency in all four language skills. The first is practicing. Practicing involves multiple techniques for working with the target language hands-on. The first is repeating. This involves multiple exposures to language elements in reading. Rereading text strengthens recognition and comprehension. For writing, rewriting sentences using target structures reinforces grammar. In speaking, repeating phrases improves pronunciation and builds confidence. For listening, replaying audio multiple times enhances recognition of speech patterns. Formally practicing with sounds and writing system. This involves systematic practice of pronunciation and writing. In reading, practicing letter-sound relationship improves decoding. For writing, practicing character formation in character-based language enhances literacy. In speaking, focused practice on difficult sounds improves intelligibility. For listening, discriminating between similar sound focus exercises improves comprehension. Next, receiving and sending message. The strategies focus on extracting and conveying meaning effectively. A. Getting the idea quickly. This involves grasping main points without understanding every detail. In reading, skimming and scanning text identifies key information. For writing, brainstorming main points before elaborating essential meaning maintains communication flow. For listening, identify keywords and main ideas, manage information overload. Next, analyzing and reasoning. The strategies involve applying logical thinking to understand language structure and use. A. Reasoning deductively. This involves applying general rules to understand specific language examples. In reading, apply grammar rules help understand complex sentences. For writing, using general patterns to construct specific sentence ensure grammatical accuracy. In speaking, applying pronunciation rules to new words improves accuracy. For listening, knowledge of grammar patterns helps predict and process incoming speech. B. Translating. This involves using the first language as a base for understanding or producing the second language. In reading, translating key concepts adds initial comprehension. For writing, translating ideas from the native language can generate content. In speaking, mentally translating common phrases support early production. For listening, selective translation of difficult sections supports overall comprehension. Creating structure for input and output. The strategies organize language information to enhance processing and production. The first is taking notes. This involves writing down key information. In reading, margin notes capture important points and questions. For writing, note taking during planning stage organize ideas before composition. In speaking, noting key points before presentation enhance organization. For listening, structured note taking captures essential information for later use. And next, about applying compensation strategies to the four language skills. Compensation strategies help learners overcome knowledge limitation and continue using the language despite gaps in knowledge, maintaining communication flow and building confidence. The first, guessing intelligently in listening and reading. Intelligently guessing involves using available clues to understand despite knowledge gaps. The first is using linguistic clues. This involves using language knowledge to guess meaning. In reading, using knowledge of word roots, affixes, and grammar helps infer meaning of unknown words. For listening, recognizing word parts of grammatical patterns aid comprehension when some words are unclear. Next, using other clues. This involves using non-linguistic information to support comprehension. In reading, using illustration, titles, and text structure help predict content. For listening, interpreting tone of voice, facial expressions, and situational concepts supports understanding despite vocabulary limitation. Next, overcoming limitation in speaking and writing. Switching to the mother tongue. This involves occasionally using native language words when necessary. In speaking, inserting a native word when the target language equivalent is unknown maintains communication flow. For writing, using native language temporarily for complex concepts allow continue expression while marking areas for later revision. And the last is getting help. This involves seeking assistance when communication challenges arise. In speaking, asking conversation partners to provide unknown words supports learning during communication, providing consulting with more proficient speakers during the drafting process improves accuracy and expression. Okay, that's all my presentation and thank you.